just choose forbidden timers.
Do you want to use mine?
Yeah.
Wait, are you guys mag or out?
We're out.
Who's the negative team?
Sofia's Darwin.
Oh, they're there. Okay.
Here.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem.
To avoid picks. It's okay. Yo, Summer, bro. You got a charger, right?
Not for you.
Yes, for me.
I have a charger.
What?
I also have a charger.
No, it's okay. I want some first. Yeah, but
I want you to have Nickels.
like in case.
No,
I want mine first.
Yeah, then you have to say
Please.
Good job.
Yeah.
Just don't ask about this though.
Promise you won't go for it?
How do you know? How do you know?
Alex.
Oh, your pencil?
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, I can do that too. Oh, I saw
I
you
don't
with
really
my
have
Leah.
class on the second exam for you, so like.
You just got ego, bro.
Oh, it's like, don't ask about it in cross.
William Shannon will be good.
It's actually very good at it. Very strong.
When I was with Joe Blanchard. You were there with Mike? Oh. Mike brought you some out there. Thanks.
The United States federal government should establish a single period for national health insurance advantage to cause planning health insurance of the largest sector of global economic growth, expanding explodes deficits and takes economy price. 6. The advantage of U.S. health insurance sector, budget and actual economy 20% of GDP by 2023 and check. Trust fund nearing insolvency, health insurance cycles, R&D, cannibalizing spending and accelerated development expenditures grew by 7% every to reach 500 trillion places the economy, major stories to people that manufacturing the U.S. after it's part of my complexity that financial institution health and free, our financial PBS and refinery, the way basic study, grew 8% to 1 trillion Medicaid, or reached 931 billion in the day, exceeded 30% trillion, by exceeding the Fed defense, which is the Fed advantage, inflation managing cost of revenue, the debt to GDP ratio towards 100% the Fed cannot raise wages, the fund cannot be depleted by 20 trillion payments and necessitate tax order, deficit spending, investors are confident in currency challenge. This creates fiscal constraints on defense, causing both strategic overreach, isolation, and controlling healthcare as its key, mobile hazards, and to track. Developments that weaken the economy all reflect the U.S.'s ability to versus its military superiority and advances costs towards locales, mobility, career costs, and climate manufacturing processing, challenges strained at the end of start, contributing to launcher that continues to worry allies and armed production, supply chain, burden sharing, withdrawal to trigger fragmentation of security. Defense constraints cause the U.S. to rely more on nuclear weapons and risking nuclear war. How do you report? Ukraine, the Middle East, China, complicated ways of adversary a large scale conflict increases the potential for producing increased cooperation from adversaries may take advantage of the U.S., increasing the likelihood of forces to have a nuclear war without conventional forces to destroy conflict. The U.S. might be forced to nuke. Isolation will increase the risk of global nuclear conflict and makes it most costly when the U.S. inevitably re-engages like before. Without use for actions, countries like their own nukes allies persuading little action to restore global stability. The U.S. has the power to de-escalate conflicts with Japan, but seek their own if the U.S. is no longer guaranteed defeats. Slow growth causes station leadership. 6. West had a dominant position in the global economic hierarchy, control with climate evident projection forecast China and India surpass the U.S. on global structural tensions. Creating economic nationalism, protection, more fragmentation, regionalization, escapes, recalibrating openness and resilience and independence remain the unlimited characters and mutual interest creates a paradox out of debate and conflict heads the risk of economic coupling information becomes whole conversation to fill the perfect digital control, exploring technology, broadcast or altered calculus of deterrence, regime, reducing labor forcing to slower growth, and greater inequality, raising risk of political instability, restriction of ideological competition, democracy from within, against authoritarian democracy, economy, and borders, and reforms from the inner world order, and then shaping institution statements launched in the U.S., measure resistance, restore SY 3 to diplomacy, hybrid warfare, energy leverage, capacity for disruption from middle rise, digital powers, influencing regional stability, multilateral agreement elements, challenges such as climate pandemic, cyber trends, and borders, low induces long-termism, bolsters societal resilience, and caps, existential black swans, U.S. latest key, entrepreneurship 4. U.S. second made a bigger bet on AI and scaling. We are ahead, but China has a clear path to error correction, competition, and adaptation has taken the lead. Generals will be the course of human history. There's easy cases of OPs to American preeminence of advanced new bio weapons that's new nuclear weapons so available. New delivery maximum, making the greatest extra proposed by energy as newbies of mass that these will be proliferated abroad after the U.S. will be brought to north. Now leave room to give gives room to maneuver to your resistance, but leave can make all the difference between intelligence things different in the allies of how they lead the 5 times and stabilize. The plan solves for cost versus Nazi power. Break what's 4 and 6. The cause of high prices, the lack of Nazi pressure prices of purchasing stagnant across hundreds of organizations in the U.S. states and general war. The number of Medicare still lacks the power of public pressures have healthcare securities, Medicare failures, incomplete contracts and derivatives maps. Market-based approaches are other disease. Second is administrative costs, wisdom to 6. Administrative waste to multiple insurance drug companies and hospital. The increase in profits in the economy has just filling in paperwork instead of care. The cost of increase in private versus in profits. So there is time for Medicare problem many people are devoted to waste. Americans don't go to the doctor 1 in 5 because the cost is too low high. People don't take their drugs because the price is high. Single payer with global budgeting save provider side administrative costs and most significantly increased utilization of care. Gapping 22. Canada and Colombia global budgets cover all expenditures around 7% of administration positions, $80,000 annually to cover interactions with insurers for a fold higher than Canada expenses fall from 19 to 22%. Hospitals increase in use to extension between non-existent. The number of hospitalizations is significant. Extensions deliver more than 2 newly insured. Progressive taxes replace existing premiums. Holiday 18. Existing public sources of funds will provide 1.8 trillion. The cost will be 30 trillion. The cost need to raise 1.2 trillion businesses over US help by 8%. And to stand for working small businesses and recovering taxes of 1.8%. Gross receipts tax applied to new businesses of 1.3%. To 3.75% sales tax on necessities. Network tax of 0.38% to the wealthy 12% of households. Now, advantage to centralization bioshares likely coming now. Job report. Breakthroughs with the gene editing second AI will make aviation productivity of earlier for the state and also accuracy of COVID accidental coronation attacks. Coronavirus due to civilians and military kangaroos viruses that harm radically and present MD. Not like an inhibit deaths of subsidiaries that are shot and require bioweapons and nukes. Dictatorship on these bioweapons of combination struggle to people the source of the attack. Covertly vaccinate people with the attack will develop pathogens disproportionately affect through invention by Chinese ship rules. Extinction, color form, 23. James the machine 1% irrationality due to all pathogenic organisms replicating propagation, no upper limit to the world. Synthetic bio when it's reducing genetic DNA sequencing and fundamental efficiency. This killing the central emphasis of biotechnology dual use and ubiquitous etc. micro. The plan solves these bioweapons and effective alternative approaches fail. Cause of 14. Activity of promoting the state of the U.S. will conservative power to deter and historical approaches but universal and oversimplify the state challenges that deterring bioweapons and criticism weapons, material difficulty monitor, defenses, deterrence measures, demonstrate critical capacity for safety to respond and mitigate the consequences of attack by reducing making it uncomfortable and ineffective defense approaching to decrease vulnerability by fortifying and civilian population are examples of deterrence by nano. This one things that system for deterrent of robust health systems and subject to accident and more. Active deterrence rules. Single pair incentivizes data format uniformity and limits profit. Bonus that impede sharing for like 17. In US it is very difficult to implement due to multiple system players. They fail to take into account the biggest barriers to nationwide implementation of multiple system heterogeneous data. Info system that needs to challenge to analyze data there and the possibility the benefits that come along with such as specialization of healthcare and uniformity of health quality of services. Reduce complexity delay other possibilities with the analytics for research purposes derive better process re-engineering. Data analytics solve personalized medicine, drug development, and fraud, but requires effective data aggregation. VACO and SLS 22. The next challenge is healthcare have to face for growing elderly and declining fertility, providing healthcare because impossible data has medical enterprises can keep up with the information use. Approaches allow personalized medicine implementation, lowering costs, better analysis, and prediction of diseases, improving surgical exchange. So like to reduce person detect fraud, but data challenges are connected with data structure data for making this person are difficult to aggregate security, standardization, cost with securing, storing, transferring data that solves data space colonization. Key 24. Human settlements face harsh conditions and deep space editing ensures human tolerate conditions that able to overcome challenges becoming interplanetary, less to travel limits, clean up radiation, key advances, slow down aging, and counter breakdown of crops, resist radioactivity, solves every existential threat. J55. Climate change societal collapse, state settlements obligation to future generations of delaying state settlements means lower productivity over the universe. AI, ER, experts such as exacerbating pandemics, climate change, nuclear weapons, ecological breakthroughs, low radiation, cracked bias, can lead to understanding the risk of alcohol and events, global food production, volcanic eruption, catastrophic impacts to civil affairs. Single payer solve state budgets on the break now. Got 21. See what project increase the federal funding that would replace private insurers of premiums that are to central savings for stay with single payer no longer have to bear costs. Public project to totals of 318 billion as well as 462 billion and other programs with saving on Medicaid totals savings about 800 billion. That solves wildfires. 22. State wildfire budgeting hitting limit. We're allowing revenues to cover wildfire budget flexibility, essential to sufficiency, and timely incurred emergency. Obscuration costs on the fires, state general revenue, post and balance for building states. Cover costs of wildfire management, phase capital expenditure, area budgets. Computer delays on top of costs, which is growing state budgeting. since falling short last year turning point appropriations and insufficient state reliance on reactive funding. I might need more, Jacob. Wildfires are existential in Seattle 23. A similar combination of warming and expanding population, biodiversity loss, and human factors have characterized the situation playing out again. Today, alarming differences in temperature, rising head disaster, plentiful, increasing fire frequency, and intensial city parallels between extinction and cities, environmental crisis are striking, and vulnerable impacts to eliminating reckless fire conditions, preserve Earth's reimagining magnetomic health for another even more catastrophic transformation.
Read this.
And high premiums destroy farmer productivity that's key across, but in 2026, the ECA for subsidies farmers with livestock are gone into premiums country who can't afford it, and will have subsidies for the quarter that active workers purchase a health insurance to the marketplace. Farmers uses facing challenges with the loss of subsidies will make it unconfident and affordable. Major mentioned that the US farmers will have to choose between being insured or leaving the farm work behind. Very dangerous. It's essential that farmers can purchase comprehensive insurance. Extinction, COVID-19 in South Asian and Middle East, Russia and the US and France will be ruthless enough to deploy economic weapons to the quality nation by tens of millions of refugees. CSIS stated food insecurity is driver recognition of the use of nuclear weapons. Single payer makes drug development cheaper and more effective via centralized databases. Top student I've seen in single payer.
Good for process.
Yeah.
Okay, so you track the following evidence to say that the plan eliminates the profit motive. How?
Falling evidence.
Yeah, it's on the second advantage.
Jacob.
Yeah, so it effectively like centralizes all the data. And
Okay,
if
but
there's-
how would that eliminate the profit motive for all these medical companies?
Because there's not a multi-payer system anymore.
Okay, sure. How does the plan drive down prices in the medical industry?
What do you mean in the medical industry? Like,
Well, you've outlined things
I think, like,
drugs, technology, etc.
are you talking about like the consumer or about overall like drug like?
Like, how would you lower the amount of prices that we have to pay these companies?
I guess like monopoly of purchasing power is the main internal link to that. I think the plan solves because it's able to negotiate lower prices for pharmaceuticals for consumers.
Okay, sure. The space development impact, even if we can edit ourselves to survive other planets, what evidence says we have the tech to get off Earth in the first place?
Yeah, so that's like coming out. I think our gen card. Or
I mean,
not
we
gen.
think it's try or die and an ethical D rule to get off
Try
the
or
block.
die, where does your evidence say it's even possible to get to another planet? Because that would be prerequisite for solvency. Like, it doesn't matter if it's a D rule if we can't get there in the first place, right?
Okay, McKee says like the sole factor inhibiting ability to ability to colonize other planets.
No, it's talking about our ability to survive atmospheres, but never says that we could get there. So I don't think you have an internal to this. But a different question, for bioweapons, you said that the plan solves through deterrence by denial. What does that mean? Like, do we develop bioweapons under the plan?
Yeah, so what that effectively means is that if adversaries see that we have like a centralized system where we can prevent diseases, they think that bioweapons are going to be ineffective.
So
they're
the
not gonna
internal
attack.
is showing that we have like strong public health, like
I mean,
investing in vaccines, things like that.
like not necessarily investing. It shows that we have like effective preventative measures, which makes
What does
bioweapons
that look like?
effective. That looks like the plan. It means if everyone has access, like adversaries will see that bioweapons aren't going to be effective. Like bioterror isn't going to be as effective if everyone's covered and everyone's going to have preventative care.
Okay, sure. The first advantage, the allied prolif scenario, this card is from 2 years ago before Trump went on a rampage threatening allies. How does this have uniqueness?
Jacob.
I'm sorry, could you repeat the question?
Your allied prolif card is from 2 years ago before Trump went on a rampage threatening allies. How does this impact have uniqueness?
Which card?
Well, we don't think
The one that says
isolationism
allied
is
prolif.
inherent to this globe. I think we
Sorry,
read.
what?
I don't think isolationism is inherent
What?
to this globe. Like the
Trump
lending
has
card
threatened
is
to
talking
withdraw
about.
from NATO. Like, what is the brink for allies perceiving that we're abandoning them?
Like
before
I
we
guess
start
it'd be
going?
like U.S. monetary support or
Monetary
like.
support. How does the plan reverse that?
Well, we think there are constraints on the defense budget
6
now.
off,
The plan
1, 2.
reverses it.
It's already sent. Let me know when everyone's good.
Wait, one second. Is it?
I got you, Nikhil.
Is it working?
Nikhil, I noticed you're not flowing the debate. You are? I see?
Yeah.
You flow the one I see?
Yeah.
That's good.
Sorry, is it 6, right?
office of midterm T attempts with now there seems to 26 some medical more than Republicans this year opposed the minorities of the majority so change of constituted for Congress after midterm party control the White House less than average 26 days in the midterms. Trump's ratings credited headwinds for relative particularly matter major battlegrounds depth of the momentum whenever the leading district Trump won. Healthcare saves the GOP in the midterm. That's that in 26 Trump is determined to make healthcare center focusing midterm major. We can own the issue Democrats have on healthcare. Republicans are will kind of turn around the GOP's record. Trump will lead to larger medical bills making a choice to raise the cost of coverage for president under the impression that it would be good in the second midterm. Focus largely on the same issue of Trump push healthcare back. Shortage takes valley. Dems voted mine. Dem win blocks golden dome. That's Harrison 25 reconciliation. To fundamentals only possible under unified government. If Republicans lose their chamber reconciliation, no longer an option. If Congress doesn't act, programs on fine. Programs must rely on reconciliation. Funded RGD. The golden dome creates multiple scenarios for extinction. That's Roman nuke 25 GD undermining confidence in deterrence for Russia. Countermeasures hypersonic ASAP. Arm system in orbit roads norms and increases physical debris. Threaten satellites dome. Undermine adversaries. Confidence attack strike rivals fear. Increasing incentive to act preemptively. Resources divert attention and funding for areas such as modernization, cyber conventional that underpin assurance that dangerous threats and normalizing weaponization space there and triggering escalation GD's accounts for global instability. Next off is topicality. NHI's multi-pair that's cut top 16 suggests logic that different pigeonhole national health systems are composite systems. We wrote the typology to become an analytical framework. NHI must use multiple means to clear misconceptions. NHI slate requires to take out private health insurance. NHI is multi-pair vote neg for predictability. States describes pure and prep and filters argumentation. Next off is the states counterplan to the 50 states and relevant some national actors should adopt a single payer healthcare, including an increase in payroll and income taxes, provider restrictions, secondary payer assignment and subrogation provisions, and severability provisions in the instance of preemption. States Sullivan would midterms. That's McCuskey 20. The error says resistance a single payer contained funding. The provider restrictions, subrogation, secondary payer provisions, payroll and income taxes, for an incentive to drop employer coverage back, combining power plans that lower the payroll rate to survive challenge provider restrictions, shrink the network of providers and not preempt even indirect effects at capture expenditures, provision to cover not preemptive severability provision, the permit conversion, and payable ladder elements can take on the work of pulling in place and continue saying even if preemption erodes one mechanism the legislature may pass. It also avoids the Iran DA says that it doesn't include legislation. The next off is the Iran DA passage for funding is likely now that Sherback 26 has representations committee released semi-supportive requests available against here not without cost going covered. Look back to reviewing the G7 request. Lawmakers urge the permit to turn over requests as in likely passed by Congress quicker than that's a $1.15 trillion request. Healthcare reform trades off with legislation that's McDonough 18 major national health reform legislation touched on political oxygen in the room asking Obama to charge healthcare reform, rank out the front of the agenda. Immigration reform advocates advise who will take their years later remains an unredeemed promise. Opposition to health reform, politically radioactive replay. Clinton health reform fiasco, throw gasoline on fire, anti-ACA, opposition on health issues, clamor for attention, achieving and consuming a substantial PC1 reliable. The reality of health, national health legislation is the U.S. is intense partisan conflict rise to proceed realism for the sake of other urgent national priorities, particularly for Iran funding and ensures Chinese first strike. That's 126 Iran just really trying on power. Chinese openly questioning the ability to defend Taiwan, shifting calculus US burned 10 times the amount of number of Tomahawk missiles that advised shattered aura of dominance, exposing a major flaw and inability to reply to an arsenal field narrative. US have less success against China top to let hands a breakthrough. Company overturned US resource if military unable to deploy weapons that will be a giant with limp. Chinese invasion sets up a wave of global catastrophe extinction that's essential for the atomic flashpoint. It's unstable CCP and other force authoritarianism is Czech Okinawa Gomez risk rates, Philippines Korea's SES and true recession across the world depression, structure hostile, black supply chain shattered, crisis, sea market surge, nativism, and protection of the American alliance, nuclear arms, racing spiral, World War III, climate civilization, knock, Japan militarized again, authoritarian direction, Korea, go nuclear, north and molded to take over AE, expand, nuke, Australia, fear of turbo develop nuclear armaments, and NATO, embrace Beijing and fiddle fracture. Next off is the medical devices. The industry is forecasted to grow, but driven by high medical spending. That's pedal 26. The medical devices predicted to increase 2026 market growth, attributed to increase in adoption, expanding for innovation, and diagnostic devices, rising adoption, key driver imaging system, robots, cardio, monitoring software, driven by AI adoption, gain momentum, growth rate 6.20%, increase in prevalence of these age conditions, are drive market surging healthcare expenditures, great immense opportunity for the market. The plan slashes medical device development, straight turning the case at G24 price cuts, on innovation commerce and looking across medical device industry, medical price cuts, looking 25% decline in new product emissions and a 75% reduction in pedophile slowdown in innovation. Manufacturers responded by reducing interest, outsourcing, high ratio defects, long-term cost plus innovation, outweigh saving cost containment, and can disrupt markets. Dynamics investment in R&D, reduce quality, high hinder advances that drive long-term welfare industry thrives on continued progress, especially vulnerable. Outsourcing has implications for employment, displaced workforce impacts in local communities, and lower quality products need to worsen health, the driving of healthcare costs, and offsetting savings. Sustained medical innovation enables human augmentation that's been narrow. 24 current versions of electronics, metal materials, research, potential revolution, medical industry, machine, neuroprosthetics, devices. genetic engineering expanding humans beyond physical and cognitive limitation. Technological trends remain sophisticated. Improvements are needed to further advancements of human augmentation complement sooner than expected, fundamental for future use. That prevents existential miscalculated conflict that's been forward 22 human enhancement, minimize risk of accidents, nukes, due to behavioral problems causing accuracy, and prolonged nuclear alert crews or reported hallucinations, disturbances, actual slow movements, and vigilance. But such a bioinformatics predict and minimize likelihood of nuclear war results in miscalculated nukes. Could be used inadvertently bioinformatics or human adaptive CNCs, detection of CBRN, and identify nuclear activities, weapons development, or respond to radiation treatment options, prevent illegal transportation, and non-exhaustive. Next, offensive advantage counterpoint. The United States federal government should increase funding for the military by 5% each year, and promise to aid allied military security. That's 24 inside the U.S. bills. Military readiness, North Koreans, and neighbors to achieve deterrence. Ban domestic bioengineering. That's YASF 23. Effective strategy to prevent GCPRs and systematic development and bioweapons by states and other actors. Fund disease and bioterror R&D prevention. That's origin disparity. 17. Plan offense is going to require a lot of more coordination and development equivalent to government focus across sector efforts and advancing biological pandemic risk or international strength global collaboration, government science community that encourages global public awareness to preventing measures and eliminating Medicaid. That's broadening. Just running facilities and combining federalizing Medicaid are difficult to engage in. Countercyclical spending, savings from federal safety use of investments in infrastructure could infuse cash Congress that not address underlying problems, federalizing long term of largest and growing social service and centralized gene editing databases. That's all funding. 25. Significant challenges must address standardization heterogeneous genomic data across institutions remains a critical hurdle as does the development of robust ethical frameworks for data sharing and enact negative income tax, funding basic income that's 17. Rising inequality, second wages, transformation of career into sub-hourly tasks, basic tech networks replacing human labor. Brexit and Trump will put you the need to guarantee everyone at least some income basic income would amount sufficient to secure basic needs would replace temporary benefits. UBI would be the promise of equal opportunity, not equal outcomes. Start a new start line about poverty that avoids midterms and devices. It's non-partisan and doesn't control prices. Go to the cost advantage first. Hegemony is resilient or thump. That's Mohan 26. Constraints on American power, high debt, political debt, provision, no first with allies, and or examining against US policy, not against US. There's the only credible role in the system, even Trump tried that only can destroy government, adaptive private sector, and strength of civil society, damage, and people geography gives you a large affair. Second, all causes that's 20 seasonality and certain preference. Third, Trump makes it inevitable, threatening to withdraw from NATO. Proves. Fourth, cancel growth, providers opt out, lower reimbursement, and slow growth doesn't cause war. That's wall. 20, I do not think economics impact war of depressions. The war caused it more than the US 40 recession. Yeah, 20 wars, the most unrelated leaders of war. It would be long and uncertain, no matter econ leaders will not work unless we can achieve with the success and motivation, security, ever worse run as ready not of context and economics are one factor and really significant. Advantage 2. First, new answers when they list who biotech. Second, countries who already have single payer should solve. Third, no biotech. That's source century voucher. Who would history hold a example of Amchi Girl and then produced about that. Which will rebuild Japan and qualified medical staff, the experts, discovered the genetic engineer for harm little, improved data over the past 30 years, market 30 years. Fourth, no interlink between gene data and getting space. 0F, since we have the tech leave the rock, fifth, space call, doesn't reduce access to risk. That's Gozik, 19th space settlements are able to reduce risk of human mutation. Fourth, ushers in long-term risk assessment. Would it would be better to protect humans or further progress in space tech will be counterbalanced by increasing anthropogenic risk, market risk. Six, federalism does not produce effective policy. That's Greenback 22, proponents and discuss as well as federalism is a source of veto. They may hold back democracy, increase the number of players causing the policy stages, and school bias the wealth can more credibly influence politics. 8, the wildfires are thumped by LA and Canada. No wildfires impact that's true. No 21.6 million wildfires in the US and 96% were caused by human actions. Numbers in Colorado, Massachusetts analyzed 200 million homes, while then urban interference are responsible for 92%. Marked at 92%.
Are you good?
Yeah.
Status?
Conditional.
Can you get blinks?
No.
No. I guess advantage kind of thing. What's the benefit?
Midterms, medical devices.
Wait, Plank 3 is, or I guess Plank 2 is banned bioengineering. Why does that not take out the impact of the devices?
What do you mean? The impact on devices is not bioengineering.
It's not bioengineering.
Wait, no, it's not.
Human augmentation.
Yeah, human augmentation is distinct from the bioengineering of pandemics. That's the argument that so the advantage counterpoint is.
Okay, sure. So bioengineering is.
Oh, actually, no. Actually, you're right. Strike that one.
Strike. Wait, strike the blade.
Yeah.
Alright. Devices, like, what's the link? Is it just about price controls?
Yeah.
How does price controls affect the medical devices industry?
The argument says that if medical device manufacturers and investors make less money on their returns, then they're less likely to invest in the industry, which is bad.
I guess it's about like manufacturers. How does that come from like single payer?
Well, it spills up. So your argument is that monopsony means that reimbursement rates for providers would go down, which means that those providers would pay manufacturers less to get their products.
So providers are the sole investors in manufacturers?
No, but if providers are making less profits, then they'll pay manufacturers less.
Sure. States, what's their benefit?
Midterms in Iran.
And Iran. I guess Iran. Oh, actually, no, not Iran. Devices like the impact. It's about like sleep deprivation and like other responsibilities. Like if that's the
What do you
threshold for the impact. Like the Favaro card says
Yes.
human enhancement is key to prevent sleep deprivation.
Yeah.
If that's the threshold, why hasn't this happened already?
Well, we think that they're increasing nuclear risk, tensions are increasing, strategic stability is unraveling.
Strategic stability is unraveling. Are you
Yeah.
gonna defend that?
What?
You're gonna defend strategic stability is unraveling now.
We think that well, actually, no, sorry, rephrase that. The risk for nuclear conflict is increasing in the status quo.
Why?
Well, I mean, there are more tensions between the United States, Russia, China, etc.
More
Also-
tensions?
Yeah.
So like we need deterrence now? Or-
No. The argument is not we need deterrence. It's like we should stop making mistakes. The impact, like the Golden Dome impact, is also like the plane will cause people to miscalculate, which is the same impact as, or it's not like the same impact.
People to miscalculate?
Yeah.
Okay. But you'll defend their attention now.
What do you mean?
Like,
Yeah, obviously their attention's down.
I guess the hedge impacts, Mohan, like, is it just like saying like debt doesn't constrain the US or that the US has capabilities now to like respond? And, like,
Yeah, it says that there are just like a bunch of alt causes that are challenging hedge, but we've been resilient through all of them.
all its causes? Like what?
Political division, frictions with allies, resentment against US policies. But those things don't affect US hedge because it's resilient.
Okay, I guess like what does that do or, oh shit, that's not.
No, bro.
Yeah, okay, 621. I'm setting it up. Okay, set.
Give me 1 second. Let's see where.
Okay. Everyone's ready for an order? Cool. Okay. It's costs, then centralization, T, the advantage counter plan, states, midterms, devices, You're on. You good?
One more time, cost, centralization, T, advantage, kind of button states, terms, devices.
Yep.
Right.
They say Hendra is resilient, but that undermines power projection, funding gaps, forced reliance on cheaper use for deterrence, and that's hard to get into reject mode at Mohan. It's not about our specific scenario, and all causes don't though, because isolationism is specifically driven by this scenario and lack of funding. And Trump doesn't make inevitable decline, which was answered above, and we directly solve growth through monopsony power, which is intrinsic and specific to our ability to lower costs, which they haven't contested, and that's price. And that specifically solves growth, and that's LEMU. And they dropped our specific scenario about long-termism because Lee gives reason room to solve existential black swans and AGI. That's Ashenberger, and independently, slow growth is existential because they just say that it doesn't cause war, but that's external to our offense about how it allows our adversaries to overthrow the world order if we can and develop faster growth. That's LEMU, which is independent of whether it causes war, and resilience is wrong because fertility is minor and immigration solved, and spending outweighs, which are independently our internal links. Essentialization. Group 1, 2, and 3. Yes, bioterror, Thorstad's old, and capabilities have increased since then. And Iran war and Trump rage-baiting countries proves there's incentive to attack that's jaw. And just because other countries have single-payer solves is completely wrong. That doesn't, I don't know how this would solve because U.S. is uniquely key. People want to strike the U.S. because it's the biggest country in the world. And we have specified which bio-attackers, and we don't need to either way because they're that's completely independent. And it could be the Middle East, it could be China, it could be anywhere. And group 1, 2, 4, 5, and 6. Space Call solves every existential threat by getting off the rock. The sole barrier is gene editing, which is just solved by centralization of data, which allows us to be radiation resistant. And he says that the capabilities are coming now, and there is a gene internal which was answered that. We don't need to specifically win warming because we have extra offense on black swans. And what is group 1, 7, and 8? And no, it's not them because wildfires are existential. They destroy the ecosystem, which is independent of their regards. And it's not them because that just proves that the brink is now. That's Lindsay. And food wars has dropped. It's existential and drives conflict. That's crib. We go to T. What may be elected procedure private to counter NHI's only single payer quadrant 19. Arguments of levels comprised single payer non-vertical integration is definition more accurate. We define NHI as universal global related Maryland and triangular derivative single payer non-vertically integrated. And for a precision or definition is contextualized US. And there's the one Italian case B Afghan they exclude core controversy which is single payer counter interpret just our amnesty solved and reasonability NHI definitions and megas for no abuse functional limits like econ apartment gap gain midterm check and AFNI NHI and bed key advantage counter plan. 1 burden to the boat that shields do not benefit. 2 burden to the counter plan. Counter plans can be 3 burden to the plan and incompetent of the flanks. And 4 single payer ski alternative lack of inflation control, cost, efficiency, and complexity, and lack of all redistribution rate to health necessary for democracy. That's price. Merkowitz with and Nielsen and Gaffney. And 6 conditionality, voting issue, encourages bad positions, we have no risk. Unless attachment, no opportunity, hostile plan, if you have change turns to use that 20s, time strategy, and makes half offense impossible to dispose all they can give to his Hebrews murmur theory. And 7 military plan can't solve problems that don't mean anything under Trump. It overheats the economy, raising costs. That's price. It deficit spend which alienates allies. 0 B22. Excessively high debt rate in the economy, vitality deficit spending contribute to inflation, related to higher interest rates, global growth, and physical crisis. Create geopolitical debt held by foreign intervention, income goes abroad, and fewer limited to manage conflict, and become harder borrower response to resentment and war. We'll already spend 1.5 trillion events in 2027, which solves an abandoned domestic bioengineering can't solve anything. Deterrence by denial is uniquely key for adversaries to perceive bioweapons as undesirable. And 9 preventions vacant can't solve our specific scenario about how deterrence by denial. And 10 eliminating demand can't solve. And that kills poor people's assets, not kicking plagues. Means that this exacerbates the other scenarios. 11 centralization plague drops our specific scenario about how it reduces competition and secrecy from multi-payer system, which is unique to their solvency claims. And 12 basic income can't solve. That's about inequality, which is completely external to our scenarios. And 13 links that have benefits favorable in midterms. If it does all this and devices is an external states counterplan. 1 permanent the boat shield and not benefit abuses labor the plan is receiving us all 2 permanent the counterplan. 3 over preempts king out all 22. Every 6 permanently brand and then all take love that related to benefit of bears and verbal connection with the windows and law requires further destruction plans the particular ways where it indirectly produce economic event which person is a plan on all the government restricting the choice of insurance or they can't self-fund plans. Brown and McCuskey 20. Employers the part of the Holly North Middle instead of purchasing insurance this is self-funded 60% of Americans governments are bringing health living is not replicated insurance they might not regulate this attention or triggers preemption the third is the act reform. 4 waivers fail conditions guarantee Lawrence 21. 18 tests that are Thursday were warned that the waiver unless satisfied beyond that to go on a roll lily brown discretion indicate a lack of an interest in waivers of the window gives man a government role in health insurance. 5 uniform 50 states beyond as voter and the aggressive and doesn't provide an opportunity gospel is stealing our best deficits. 6 fragmentation varying federal eligibility to the middle class while 18. Okay. Midterms, yeah. When all comes that way, I support the Democratic Invader, more controversial than insurance and coherence. The GOP wins. To the GOP wins now. Touch barrier 7-1. Roughly game and insensibility, capacity cross the drive, protect majority, thinking more than with the candidates, bringing forward the state of movement, center, Republican, lines, or the GOP coming group. Also, one reason deficits, Republican candidates, high profile areas like North Carolina, Georgia, and Texas. And a story to the adverse economy, over the research, confidence, restrictions, non God. It's the regerman excuse election, Democratic will be a group, regardless of demographics. Before it's too early, Trump is unpredictable, black swans ensure the whole half is overshadowed. And 5, the GOP will still election, House will certify, no, positive 5. Now it's going to have them demanding ready to recount, then has already the power to not have the legal was overturned. In the middle of the day, there's ample difference counting on the court fucked about it. And when this may now be a prophetic warning of Trump second. 6 single players on arrival, Louis 26. Single player rules are equal to the sacred jobs, single player requires the government to assume responsibility for your support and response that would require massive new revenue and the days to represent new results all target single player. Incumbent Trump will be as one of those abolishing guys and believe their answer for the election. And on the medical devices, yeah. 1, Medtech declining, last year's 26. Medical reshaping, changing patterns of RD, political trial device, and brutal capital access, collective reshaping RD, pressing Republican companies, all cap companies, experience the cloud black guys, capital number of devices, shopping, the money dollars for complicated defensive elimination as FDA to the plan's best for medical innovation plan is by 13. Effects of insurance on medical innovation, Medicare and Medicaid significantly increase medical patenting effects of U.S. insurance covers 25% of the patenting of government delivers our market, importance of local regional governments, coverage expansion, increased productivity, and negative average increased providers that adopt innovation reforms that shift from B to service and increase support for innovation, not conscious particularly strong effects on incentive. 3 other countries still by 22. In Germany's able to disrupt influence on an deep and brought it back, you became Belgium, brought it back, then you're selling market about it. China's going to be directly to join effect of Belgium for the loss of influence for the U.S. and for augmentation aside, July 17. Religion of augmenting human blood boundaries between religion and perceptions of society's attitudes, vanity, and sensationalism, is that for the multiple decision of human is surpassed by logical limits and reality, the views of the body, the purpose of brain is to carry out a London number of taxes by technical law firms, the results of within this continuous path require manipulation, course, time, and effort, and the Iran deal. One day is not interesting because it's easy to solve both the DA and the plan by passing both its most restrictable real world coherence to the rest and preserves class 2 will never pass. Single 26. Trump kept it to Johnny Mac with the answer requires immediately bears under a problem and complaining to Trump not kept it to church about plans of revolt days to go one given divorce they blow popularity. 3 later Republicans are probably going to reform and the winners win. Stolberg 25. Republicans government do all the Americans give over their Trump actually skip that card. Funding is bipartisan to start by BC. Kansas 26. Funding for nation accelerated under Trump and for like bipartisan agreement problem is money. The situation is Pacific is not legal relative to great till military in Iran, Venezuela, who they should namely where no recent experience of friendly members of the 5 China never strikes all causes nuclear deterrence battle war and so believes Iran funding 126. This is against someone who blows by little connection with the Iran close the data of GC, the odds of verification for the BLA, the barbarians, number of law, and any decision of you've got lots of vision of young nations talk about the lot of valor reconnaissance that the US and Trump never there with nuclear escalation, market escalation. 6 Trump species in the government of Iran, spends at 624. And Trump that decides not to limit his own to making use without political support of the Sonic extent reach beyond boundaries the whole president Belgrade political coalition starting to see the effects of part of the Republic thought that a person has limited amount of political capital Donald Trump decision making bring unprecedented consequences and go back to midterms. No dome impact or crisis instability cost of 22. And then unstated assumptions after they believe they will give out there to Moscow and they will be strong incentives for officials or rulers states not horrible. First strike return accidental damages 30 to defend the doctor graded turn on US retaliatory capability. You know, Ron's get before checking the worst outcomes that the Soviet Union contained under US monopoly.
Good for us.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Start on the midterms, DA 2C3, what was the warrant? Just neither of us can float it.
Okay, yeah, so gerrymandering would skew the election. Democratic voters would be grouped regardless of
So you need
demographics.
this hard? Is this like Republicans win now because of gerrymandering?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Sofia got that? Yep. Okay. Let's go to the Iran DA.
Yep.
China would never strike. Why?
We think that alt causes matter more, and it's completely unrelated.
Alt causes matter more.
Okay.
Alt causes.
Okay, so separate that, it's unrelated to Iran funding, and
No. That's not what I'm asking about. What alt causes?
okay, so we think that nuclear deterrence matters more, but that's independent of our scenario.
Deterrence matters more. What does that
Like,
mean?
we think that outweighs like our overreach.
Okay. Literally none of this is represented in your evidence. Your evidence says that, Xi is very cautious, he doesn't want to upset the public. Like, are you defending those things? Because this card says no.
It says that it's ill prepared, so yeah,
So
we'll
he's
defend that it's ill
prepared to
prepared.
invade Taiwan. Why
Yeah.
is he okay? Like, why? Like,
I mean,
you know what? That's fine. Let's go to the case.
Yeah.
Advantage 2. Okay, who are potential bio terrorists? Who's gonna strike?
I mean, it could be Middle East, it could be like a number of actors, but we don't have to specify the actor.
Yes, you do. Because you're saying that someone will launch a bio attack on the United States that will cause extinction. Who?
Like, it could be the Middle East, it could be China.
It could be the
It
Middle East.
doesn't.
Middle East is not a country, it's not a unified actor. What actor in
Okay,
the Middle East
we-
has the capacity to launch a bioweapon on the United States that
Okay.
causes human extinction?
So our job evidence says that the countries are rising in capability to do so.
Which countries?
The country that I just mentioned, like,
You just said the Middle East. That's not a country, bro. Which country?
I don't know, like
Well,
Saudi
I think-
Arabia, Iran, China, like, I just named a list of countries.
You read, I have to say that China's like super cautious and ill prepared to fight Taiwan.
Okay, so we're talking about
wait,
specific groups of terrorists.
Iran is like,
Not-
it's got bombed to oblivion. What other country?
This-
Saudi Arabia? Why does Saudi Arabia want to fight?
This isn't, like, okay,
Bro,
we don't
you
need to
can't say this
defend.
is irrelevant. Like, the point of saying this is irrelevant is because there are a litany of actors, but you can't tell me one.
I just named a list of different countries
And
who
you've
could
read
directly
evidence
attack.
indicting the fact that they want to go to war.
Like, that's completely external
do
because
that. You know,
it's
the
not.
only one out of the ones you listed was Saudi Arabia. Why would Saudi Arabia attack the United States?
We're talking about specific groups of people.
Which
Specific-
groups of people? Which groups of people have a bioweapon that can
Like the
wipe out the
Houthis,
community?
like any Yemen,
The Houthis-
Oman, like we
Yemen
don't have
and
to.
Oman, bro?
we don't
They
have to-
bioweapons?
Okay, terrorist groups.
Which terrorist groups?
It doesn't have to necessarily be state-sponsored actors. They could be independent
Okay.
of that.
Okay.
We don't need to specify like these specific actors.
Impact is entirely zero. How do you solve food?
Okay, so food is predicated on farmers' ability to be healthy. So we read cards in the Odyssey about how single pair like resolves like rural hospitals and that
Why can't other countries fill in
for what?
for like food supply globally?
Yeah, because like we're major producers.
Okay.
Wait, what was the warrant for all classes on midterms?
Just like other issues, but what
ICE, abortion, democratic infighting.
Democratic infighting?
Like, we listed that as a reason.
Whatever, 717. Let me send it out before I get it order. Okay, it'll be the advantage counterplan, the midterms dissat, the states counterplan, the Iran dissat, cost, and then centralization.
So you said advantage counterplay in midterms.
States, Iran, and then 1, 2.
Okay.
Good?
1 second.
Okay, good. Cool. The Captain solves the case. First, advantage 1, readiness. They incrementally boost funding for the military, ensuring readiness and allied deterrence by building defensive measures which makes proof unlikely. This morning, Lansing, if they're right, that Trump's promises fail, that's also a distance to the ass. Second is slow growth. Enacts a UBI which solves slow growth by increasing aggregate demand and consumer spending. They misunderstood it as solving inequality, but it solves their laundry list, which is Stanton. Second is advantage 2. First, bioterror. It solves disease and disincentivizes attack. Their evidence says that the appearance of public health readiness coordinates so prevents bioweapons. So Darwin coordinates global pandemic readiness and funds R&D which solves better less risk. Space called internal is gene databases. The plan centralizes data across institutions, promoting development of data sharing frameworks. Next is budgets. They said Medicaid is the largest drag on state budgets. Elimination solves enables wildfire response. Strike every card. We get infinite new answers because the Tuesday was actually unflowable. Per new boats is wrong. It links to the dissat, and the plan includes price controls or is massively popular, which triggers both dissats. Reject do the counterplan. It separates every topical mandate, avoiding each different ground. Reject do the counterplan. It links to Dubow's answer. Single pair is not key. Use sufficient urgency compared to the counterplan relative to the status quo, not the plan. We've outlined other ways to solve their impacts. We certainly can solve, which was done above. We said that we cannot kick planes, which means it's wrong. There's no deficit spending link because we are funded by taxes. No links to net benefit. Eliminating Medicaid is unpopular. We don't price control. And planes are either nonpartisan or pill in comparison to link magnitude. Condo is good. We get what we did. First, next flex topic is that bias leverages that lose to the link term making testing a necessity. Second is logic. The only role is negative disprove plan desirability and multiple options. Encourage research. Now defense. First, skew enable T distance and speedable abuse has diminishing marginal utility. Second, research enables offense is best at 2C. Will always read it. Distal is bad. It lacks definition consensus. It process makes it functionally comparable worse, which means they cannot solve neg flex. Go to the midterms. This that golden dome outweighs an insecure second strike. Undermines adversaries' confidence in ensuring prolif. Cyber war, hypersonics, and space weapons circumvent traditional deterrence as preferred. First magnitude. That's round 25. High confidence is not sufficient. Must receive reverse state virtual efforts to modernize the effect without weapons. Poseidon will become a greater priority for doubling nuclear anti-stats. GD will not have serious consequences for stress for Russia. Second is Turner's case and uncontested. Republican majority doesn't believe in climate change and defund science, which prevents their laundry list from being solved. Arms recently also straight turns readiness or dems to the plan. None on presumption. 2AC1. No other issues. This was also unflowable, but healthcare matters most. The plan slashes medical debt for 340 million people, which overwhelms democratic infighting or polarization because it directly impacts people's lives. 2AC2. The GOP does not win now. Their card just says that they're funding campaigning, not that it's successful. Prefer our evidence. Only we poll voters. That Dems win now. This polling market 718 inserted for referendum favorability polling. Numbers Republicans 41. The Stevenson 717. Numerous Republican sisters competitive state GOP territory slowly move from towards Dems. GOP retirement wave create uncertainty. Open seats quickly become pickup Dems. They see safer territory. Dem rating change. The number of Republicans by 4 to 1. Trump's unpopularity around to abstain translate into weak turnout and party backlash. 2C3. No demographics. The warring with gerrymandering, which is wrong. Elections are tamper-proof or Democrats will win despite it. That's true. Number 25. Elections often been flawed even as the party power is capable of losing supporters throughout the state. We know what Trump say, what Trump is capable of. Our electoral system is distributed made in thousands of counties. Even the most determined autocrat will struggle. Then truth under the backfire. Folks are angry about truth turnout and record numbers that could. Boomerang, 2AC4, blatantly untrue. We're only months away from the election. McKenna also concedes we can identify trends, even if we can't 100% certainly predict link determines direction. It's not too early. This rolls 26 and 2026 campaign is already underway. One is already pouring in. Campaigns are now focused and mobilizing supporters early TV to find race battles. For 2026, already heating up on the airways long before voters head to the poll. To poll, 2AC5, GOP will not cheat. The card says nothing. And Johnson is checked by the courses. Has 25 courses of the war against presidential medley federal courts. Block Trump's exile and friends and sovereignty courts have an environment reference, topic, elation subversion, very conservative district court. Blocked an attempt to change eligibility. Democracy is for a stronger than a strong man. No voter suppression. Law enforcement will respect and protect voting stations on 2020. This sprues 2C6. The plan is popular. Our GOP single payer still says biggest campaign and fulfills promises of affordability. It's a winning strategy. Listing 25. Universal health care has wide public popular support. Americans want free from profit. Republicans independence. And Democrats are unified on a government health insurance. It's a political winner. Let's make it 25. Americans voters have had the opportunity to embrace this divide a single payer system, but benefit lower class families. There are no losers. Consensus regardless of affiliation. Medicare for all would secure his legacy. Healthcare solutions that make or break this. Here's 25. Republicans and rest of the party graph face the midterm election nightmare. Trump needs to show Americans have solutions to healthcare problems. Now, Louis is terrible. It assumes that Democrats do the plan. She doesn't assume Trump's cult of personality and marketing of the plan. Taxation is irrelevant. He can justify it with previous costs and the benefit outweighs. She also has zero quals for our professors of political science over CNN reporter. 2AC7. Costo is about Cold War. Well, ours is about current geopolitics. BMD is also distinct from the Golden Dome, which can overwhelm hypersonic strike defense. Adversary will race to new tech. Trump 2.0 CD determined. 26. The missile show could create an escalation pulse and raise the state of secure calculate offensive carriers. A lower risk under Trump missile defenses. Not so much a tool to lower tensions, but a short fuse war rather than incentivize the force psychological range short may increase temptation. Shape Israel's launch against Iran. Go to the seas, counterplan, concede. Do both cities say via as a reason to reject the argument. Not the team that Iran card. Though Iran did sound, I'll concede no Taiwan war, but I'll concede the wars in the card. That China is constrained and pursues massive cost of failure, which is the only actor listed in their cards for who would attack the US. Go to the cost advantage cost. Or declining new tech, elastic lower supply, cost sharing, and household population, reducing spending, data for this color. 26. Medical spending was 7% of GDP, estimated reached 21%. Relative spending was only 18, a reduction of 50% below forecast for no 14-year period. Has seen a slow growth of spending relative to GDP. No food wars impact, especially 18. Violent conflict requires means of the whole people in the regular starvation, not in the position towards social violence sources. Undisputed number of complex political structures, ownership, crushing media, seek simple research-related expansions that cannot solve globally or other countries with single payer will fill in to solve food. No readiness impact. First, there's numbers of World Mueller. 21 limits focus on rogue states that all faded history of Iran and no-co. That was first the major military aggression requirements for contained did not require these to maintain large forces. The plenty time to build up. Extinction and diplomatic force fails. Second, all causes tech race and failing recruiting. Third, no lash geopolitics are dominated by confusion, cooperation, not confidence is covered force. MPT solves. That's true for 26. For past 7 decades, U.S. intended deterrence and change reported to Iran's nuclear ambitions. MPT ensuring compliance to prevent nuclear proliferation. solution. Now, there are also all causes that funding cannot solve, or evidence incidentally indicates things like supply chain vulnerabilities and dependence on China. There's no slow growth impact. First, impairs sporting recessions, or short-lived, and leaders avoid losing wars as well. Second, owing to COVID lump or intervening actors, self-check. Third, growth is structurally resilient. S&P 26 labor refer with gross grading momentum gives gross resilience due to domestic production, aid and foster also to manufacturing spending, resilient despite slowing wage growth. Fourth, existing institution check or ideological divide based in Neville and Summits. Inserted in blue. Fifth, reject Ashtenberger. They work at OpenAI, innovation high now, solves every AI or tech risk, no impact anyways. Actually, no, never mind. Go to the centralization advantage. No biotech impact. First, other countries solve regulation or cancel China development. Second, bioweapons arms race is highly unlikely. This cross 25 meter arms race highly unlikely. Norms attack actors for saying all-time low historical factors and longer drug development. No state CB donors effective counter arguments tech advantage change equation unconvincing not enterprise and program force. There's no risk of engineered passages. As source said, toys are instantly able to engineer passage because lead access to catastrophe. Historical data does not apply substantial casualties. For bio with little empirical support, business instead bio code to design randomly new passages and biotech using pathogen was less than optimal character resistance under perfect conditions and casualties much lower. Iran would not biotech us, they just got struck. There is no reason Saudi Arabia would either. The card also doesn't substantiate that. No space call impact. First innovations coming now. This PMW 77 gene editing markets for rapidly reached 30 billion driven by rapid tech advances working adoption across recent innovation transforming gene editing. Improvements such as enhanced precision, slender adoption, pharma companies expand pipelines demand continues to increase. Second, no impact. Risks are anthropogenic, so we'll cause them on other planets. That's sources. Third, they have no evidence. We have the tech to get to space. Your card never says it, which is a prerequisite or why data solves force. The dissatisfaction actually scratch at force, or there's no reason why extinction is inevitable on Earth and intervening actors solve black swans or it's instant above. No wildfires impact. First, federalism does not spill over and vetoes hold back funding. That's groupers. Second, emergency response tries to work actors fear may strike back. It would have to be domestic, which is suicidal. This year. Third, it's done by World War II Palestine. The Canada fires a few days ago in LA, which means that it will never escalate. I'm good for cross-checks.
Cool. First, are there any theoretical reasons to reject this?
No.
Okay. Alright, let's start on centralization. You said that other countries solve bioterror. How does this work?
Wait. So I think that the warrant in this card is a bio attack would be bad because it would introduce a new novel pathogen. Other countries with existing single-payer systems could solve, or the research institutions could, by developing new vaccines.
The solvency isn't predicated on developing vaccines.
No, even if your solvency isn't predicated on developing vaccines, I'm saying the reason bioweapons would be bad is because they introduce a new
Okay, so you're like
pathogen,
introducing
which
a
other
new
countries could solve.
solvency scenario about like vaccines.
Like an alternate way to solve your impact.
Sure. Okay. On that advantage counter plan, you said if Trump fails to make promises, that's a deficit to the app. How is this true?
Okay, so the 2AC said this plank doesn't solve because nobody believes Trump's promises. If that's true, then the reason why the plan would solve Allied Prolif is we increase military funding for them. But if allies don't believe that Trump is credibly assuring them, then they would still proliferate.
How is that unique to like Trump breaking promises?
Well, the counter plan also does conventional forces, so I really don't get what this is getting you.
Okay. On the midterms, you made a I'm not sure if it was on midterms, but you made a presumption argument.
It was Dems do the plan.
Oh, it's just Dems do the plan eventually. Okay.
Wait, you didn't say anything about like Republicans like rolling back?
No.
Okay. Yeah. That's fine. On centralization for the no bioterror warrants. What was the second thing you said?
A bioweapons arms race is highly unlikely. That's cross.
Wait, what was the deficit to the plan on the China at the top?
It's what I just said. Trump says no, or no, sorry. Trump's rhetoric is unconvincing to allies.
Okay, so on the midterms, DA, you made an argument about how courts solve. Why is this the case?
They can check if somebody in the election tries to cheat, they'll intervene,
I mean,
which is proven by 2020.
Like,
It says that, quote, courts are the bulwark against presidential meddling. They have blocked Trump's executive orders to try to infringe on sovereignty. They've stopped election
so that's
subversion.
how is this gonna if it's covert, how could the courts explicitly solve that?
What do you mean?
This card is talking
What
about.
would Trump do that is covert?
Huh?
What could they do
meddling
that
with
is
elections? It doesn't necessarily have to be Trump, but how is this avoid Republicans manufacturing more votes? How does this solve it?
I don't know how they would manufacture more votes, but the newer evidence I read on gerrymandering said that that's really hard because the electoral system is distributed across thousands of counties. So since there are more like node points, it's harder to pack all of them, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, 5 seconds. That's okay.
Alright. So in the one route, it's the medical devices. Alright, it's fine. We don't know what it's good. Every time. So do check this one. Is that good?
I'm sorry, is there a dog?
Yeah, it was already signed.
Okay, I don't have it yet. What was the order?
Medical devices.
Yeah, extra.
Can you slow it down?
I'll just. Alright, I got one. Thanks, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Are you?
I'm good, yeah.
Human augmentation outweighs miscalculus, inevitable inaccuracy, hallucinations, or sleep deprivation skyrocket the risk of nuclear accidents. That's Favaro augmentation. Bolsters resilience to biological imperfection, capping nuclear risk. Prefer our impact first probability. Conflicts or accidents are inevitable. Second Chern's case, A, the app scenario won't escalate since leaders who are augmented won't use nukes. That's Favaro. B, all of Invader 2 is about innovation that flips try or die since we control the internal link to gene editing. Third magnitude, it unlocks immortality. That's Rabbit 21A, vital. Revolution, innovation, medical care, no shortage of organs, environment, food, and shortages, robotic bodies. It's again longevity, less sensitive to disease, upload printer during new era in which disease and hunger no longer issues. Evolving aging and render death optional nanobots, one of the tech replicated by disease, machine design, better machines, make sure machines are well disposed to us or intervention will lead to extinction. We shall live forever, downloadable, intuitive to avoid suffering. It diffuses all tensions and is a world peace counterplan. That's move on. 25, collective consciousness through telepathic, revolution, diplomacy, conflict, grass, culture, cooperative, impromptu, and empathetic strats, mitigate global risk, early detection of tensions, analysis of sentiment trends, discourse, real-time insights into detection before conflict, governments that detect changes in movement, interventions, deploy earlier, diffusing conflicts into intuition, role, decision making, encourage leaders of balance analysis with the insight, restraint, in nuclear crises, encourage longer reflection periods, training diplomat strategists, navigating existential threats, utilizing consciousness, address probe, environment, and social rights, large-scale meditation, fostering peace, resilience, neuroscience, insight analysis, training future of crisis prevention, developing the ability to understand responsibly harness consciousness, detecting trends. Choice 1, device innovation is increasing now, but it's driven by medical spending. That's paddled per our evidence. It is predictive and prices in new tech like AI, paving the way for development. More independent owners. First, US lead, that's Kumar. 26, annual private above estimates for demand for devices, resilient demand from Americans through much use. I don't think capital investment in commercial execution demand, advanced solutions, diagnostic care for impact lower, expect revenue growth that sales happen 1% a year ago. Second, AI. That's Johnson putting up AI. ML Master Tech received FDA clearance 1,000 priority review front lines of care software. Hillman US half approved devices. Third, regulatory changes. That's Abilene. 26, tethering regulators and not program speed of coverage for insured devices, cover reimbursement timelines. Device makers often face long delays to discourage innovation investment. New coverage pathways. Lasky is wrong. It's not conclusive. Just warrant salad without a predictive claim about the future of innovation. She goes, nag trials are being driven by private companies, but the plan slash profit. That's Lasky. 26, trend suggests a future in which private companies play a good role in new devices. Private medtech companies saw an increase in clinical trials. Large medtech companies historically dominated. No FDA approvals offense. Impact turned above. Here's the conclusion. That's Lasky. 26, private medtech companies made over 100% of approvals. Private companies increasingly focusing on innovation, well positioned or capitalize on market needs. Public medtech companies have struggled with R&D. 2C2, the plan decimates for medical device innovation. First, price control. FDA databases confirm price cuts result in a 75% decrease in filings for new innovations. That's cheap. For our evidence, it cites real data for Medicare. It's only applicable, empiric. It's also predictive for future price control. Second, clinical trials, they're key. That's right. 13, health insurance effect innovations in the market. Subject device manufacturer connector. Our health participants are also potential consumers, patients. Compare benefits of Roll to benefits of consuming insurance expansions. Reduce enrollment rates to make already approved products are more attractive. Reduction number of rate success that increase time to complete a trial, resulting delay, increased opportunity costs. Has that many alternative investment patent effectuation. Reduces the amount of time companies have to sell under patent. Third, reforms create uncertainty, destroying investment. That's case 1. 21, healthcare policy create market barriers. Puts the risk of sudden innovation reforms centered around cost reductions, impact on device market innovation. Uncertainty led to decrease investment. Survey stated uncertainty reason for hesitation. VVP found a peer review. So inconsistent single find investment trade concerning cost reduction. Set up providers to seek low cost devices. Fourth, empirics. That's Parapedon. 19. Price controls can reduce too drastic while FDI medical data show medical device highly technology capital dependent experts say vital community engaged for wealth tech input create ecosystem for manufacturing. Clemens is wrong. First, it's quote descriptive. The ACA and Medicare generate innovation, not the plan. Second, it goes nag. Taxes at low prices drive down innovation. That's Clemens. 13. Taxing medical device manufacturers reduce profitability, discouraging innovation from generous. Rates encourage providers to innovate while low reimbursements do not. Third, he also cites himself for reference that's inserted for reference. 2C3. The U.S. is key. First, other aspiring actors are revisionists as per the case. The use is key to effective norm setting. Second, marketized and regulatory structure. That's IML. 23. Access to U.S. key to med device manufacturers. Market open up new opportunity estimated worth of $177 billion projection growth. Company use larger market in the world stable. Regulatory regulation transfer and establish culture of innovation investment any resources. Available R&D facility universal FVC talent crucial advising innovation and medical system of voice and patient outcomes. Introducing here about tech. Strike by. First, even if other countries play a role, the U.S. is linearly important. Second, it goes next. Here's a conclusion that's by 22 leading country U.S. ratio comes by U.S. stable high level from 2010 to 2020. U.S. based high budget international medical device share. U.S. and increasingly deep influence on international medical device share trade critical impacts in Europe, Asia, and Africa. Unlike China, influence is stable. 2C4. Augmentation is possible. The medical industry is pursuing improvements now, but developments are imminent. But profits are key. That's Monero. Strike Drasse. First, from 2017, it can assume new tech like AI revolutionizing possibilities. Second, it's acontextual. R&D is not the technological singularity is inevitable, but that small human-based augmentation prevent miscount. More warrants. First, empiric that's already 21. Cognitive enhancement neural DPC designed to enable direct communication law for direct enhancement for FDA certified and CMS FDA approved stimulus and nerve cells, improved working memory, highly cognitive advancements. Now back to the case. No extinction for disease. That's a premier 20. Pathogen world likely to be an extinction that effects will be limited by human heterogeneity.
619.
start with this.
Alright.
Who's that up first?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, it's
Meantime, what's the order?
yeah. Order is gonna be devices, or sorry, my bad. It's gonna be costs, centralization, the advantage cutter plan, the Iran dissag, the midterms dissag, the devices dissag.
Okay, we're good.
Let me pull out the. I'm good.
Okay. You're not good.
Concede that costs are declining now. We're not going for the first advantage, but we'll explicitly concede that. We can concede the confusion is something. It takes out the golden dome effect because it proves that China will not escalate in the squo, or at worst, China will not escalate in the squo onto advantage 2. We're only going for space colonization. They explicitly conceded our Ashburner card where Sofia started answering, but then never said never mind. This proves that there's an extra existential black swan in the status quo, and the plan is key to solve by getting off the rock. It gives us our maximum offense and independently access human augmentation because they're predicated off of the ability to have gene editing that makes them be access their internal link. And all of the reasons augmentation are good, which are now afterwards. The line by line, they said that intermediate actors solve black swans, but that's wrong. They conceded that gene editing is the sole barrier inhibiting planetary exploration, and conceded that Ashburner card, which says that it will inevitably happen, the US is the only country available to solve. And the design isn't faster, we control time frame and probability because eliminate accidental risks are coming in the status quo and don't go up, don't get us in space either way, but it's try or die app. Yeah.
Advantage camera?
The Trump fail stuff is wrong. We're not going for the first advantage, so it doesn't matter. But all of this, all of the bioweapon stuff is wrong. We're not going for the advantage, so it doesn't solve anything. We're conceding all. We'll concede impact defense. We're conceding impact against bioterror and pandemics, which takes out any offense on the advantage card. But they're also not going for no, can't solve stasis call. Iran. Concede that China is constrained and it's the only actor that will attack now. It takes out the Golden Dome impact because there are impacts specific to Golden Dome as to China and China and Russia escalating the scope, which takes at least half their impacts midterms. We'll extend that the GOP wins now. They mishandled it. SCOTUS just ruled that campaign groups and coordinates with candidates. That means they have near infinite money to win local races. Restrictions are gone now. Even high-profile races like North Carolina, Georgia, and Texas rely on large donors between tens of millions in funding to protect the GOP. That's Touchberry report payments from July 1st, and he has 8 years of reporting experience. Now, all the polls stuff is wrong because we're going for the GOP steals the election. The House will contest Democratic victories, demanding recount after recount until they engineer enough ballots to win. That isn't just a hypothetical. Johnson has the authority to do it, and the courts won't do anything that's positive and answers all the 20 cards, multiple warrants versus voter purges. Trump will invalidate Democrats. Policy 5 places for 26 is already in the voter room. This year, the rear purchase to the straight Republicans are ramping up. There's a voter subscription tax, including private army and Maginot, so which especially the economy hires 3.5 million. Now, voter purchase in the GOP will control states, Canadian voters, and Eric, endangered aggregate microgroups are commission for equal AI demanding for citizens. Second, fraud, hundreds of disqualified Democrat ballots. Plus, 25. In 2016, ballot disallowing ballots to increase while mail-in ballots from the vigilant changes in mass challenges of voter myself. Proclaim fraud, 100 terms of Laura Mitchell. I promise if you don't policy to individually challenge voters in Georgia and Pennsylvania that allows Jane. Crow challenges. Now I'll extend it. I'll do the line by line here. They say that the court solved it. It's wrong. It has 0 warrants and it only talks about preventing. And only talks about election. And only talks about election numbers, not about the U.S. literally barring people from doing barring people from voting, which answers the poll stuff because it's a descriptive and a snapshot of the squo, not a descriptive evidence which are evidence in no voter the 2020 just proves wrong. It doesn't assume Eagle AI coming to the squo, which is an independent new warrant. Now it will accept that it's a popular trigger. Sticker shots outweigh the initial popularity, even if voters like healthcare that means to fund it are extremely unpopular. That ensures Dems lose the midterms. Republicans will make fun of Democrats ensuring a GOP win that's loopy, which means that even if the GOP wins, and even if it's popular for the single payer, it can't be popular for the democracy. So at worst, it's no link, but it proves the term because there's multiple independent warrants versus taxes that are popular with Americans now. So at 510, American believes that they pay too much remains elevated. American displeasure held near 60% anti-faded in 2021 as replaced with the taxes were too high. American views about very little by income of 6 and 10. I'm saying their taxes are too high. Person differences are Republicans are still not. I'm satisfied with taxes. Seconds RFK voters don't feel competent. You'll co-optive. Louis 26 only option for single payer advocacy is the wrecking ball tenure. Kennedy seems to comment for providing the federal government so much control over the healthcare system, including which measures cover. Third is radicalism going too far. Left hurts the Dems. Howard L. 26. It is vital for the Democrats to not make a mistake. Radicalism is a very small electoral with the desire the largest internal impact. Democrats will resist the install of the TSA and the active of the left. 4 is PR. Single payer rule from the blue can build popularity, but garbage. 23. It is realistic to think that the policy to stay with the high will change people's lives. As we are likely to see that with political effect from the average politics. People to constitution to believe in policies that had shaping obvious. They say that Dems pass NHI obviously will have trouble vetoes. Since he hates single payer Democratic, but can also be added. They will advocate for new strategies, cover and love mistakes. Behind pressure, you go to believe part of your Medicare, to all public concentration, the lotus of government to offer fresh ideas. Codes on cost care policy, policy now, MedTech. MedTech is declining now. We saw the terminal that was all in advantage. She was about complexity to access to capital for small firms, which is their only internal link that's lost evidence. US lead is wrong, it's slow, and it's declining now, which is above. AA is wrong, so FDA cleared, which is also a snapshot of the slow, but it's not their internal link. It's not their internal link, so there's no application regulatory changes wrong. Either thumbs the impact or it's priced in because our evidence is more recent. It doesn't flow neg. Our evidence is said that it's dead now, so it's not responsive. No immortality. It'll happen way later, or else it should have happened now. Otherwise, the Tracy accesses it because only gene tech is key to unlocking it, but there's no internal link. There's no internal link specified in the winner also to hold the line on true extrapolation, and the true gets you answers.
7:16 is starting. centralization. Good?
Sorry, just 1 second.
Okay, cool. The Catalan souls extend the plank, the soul space colonization. The only answer in the 1 year was analytical, which means they do not get any new substantialization in the 2 year because it's rebuttal. The internal link is gene editing. The plank solves. Our evidence says the standardization of gene data is the main barrier to space colonization. We need more genomics to figure out how to make humans resistant to radiation, which is their internal link. It solves and gets rid of try or die. The other planks do not matter because there is no impact. But if they somehow were in the office of the slow judge ticket, it's more logical. It's most logical in the intention of Con to go to the midterms and say, I'll kick it. I'll explicitly concede. Quote, China takes out the golden dome. They will not spark after it, which means there's no impact. I'll also concede Trump cheats. There are listening of reasons like gerrymandering, etc., which means that the impact is inevitable. So there is no offense from the link term. Go to the devices to that. Augmentation outweighs. They drop probability. Some amount of conflict is inevitable, proven by every war in history. With the rapid proliferation of devastating technologies makes a unique risk of escalation more likely. Exhaustion, boredom, and hallucinations when in proximity to nuclear weapons ensure humans make irrational and hasty decisions, guaranteeing use. Human augmentation solves limiting inherent cognitive weaknesses, allows nuclear actors to make calculated decisions, avoiding conflict. That's for remember, they have dropped the it is the status quo world peace counterland, which solves the case. No scenario and the 1AC will ever escalate, which means that extinction is not inevitable on Earth, so spaceflight is not necessary. Since the nuclear option will never be pursued, that means we can drop the case and you're still jurisdictionally neg on magnitude. They've also dropped an independent turns case war in medical device innovation, allows societal leaders to be vetted, which prevents irrational policy positions, which would also necessitate leaving Earth. That's the Favara evidence. So that solves all existential risks. Sustainable application of AI enables age reversal robotic bodies and the application necessary to prevent existential experts like asteroids and sun explosion. That's the worst, makes the end of humanity inevitable, which means it's try or die negative. They have 2 answers. First, time frame. It is irrelevant. Even though this specific impact might be slow, it's the only one that evades all inevitable existential risks. It is most probable because they will drop defense to the case. Second is gene editing. They cannot solve. First, this argument was new and they wanting our jurisdictionally strike with the direction of the link below mitigate, since no one has an incentive to reduce gene editing tech and a role of the plan. Uniqueness. It is decisively negative. 3 warns. First, AI. New tech is being integrated into all medtech. That's Garcris is paced the growth and is already on the front lines on case that's Johnson, and also answers the Aschenberger evidence. Our argument is not about FDA compliance, but innovative application of AI, which is certainly an internal link because it means that we can develop augmentation. Second is U.S. investment. Wall Street estimates show, quote, robust demand for medical devices, capital reinvestment, and revenue growth are through the roof. This QR U.S. late is not, quote, declining now. Our evidence postdates theirs, and the 1 year read 0 cars, so prefer cars over analytics. Third, its regulations. U.S. is the leading hurdles for companies to speed up the process of development. This regulations do not thump the impact. First, this was new, but the school is moving away from over-regulation, making it easier to develop new technology, or negative. Our evidence is written by field experts making predictive claims. Well, theirs is not. They have a few words. First, complexity. The advantage Cataplan solves it, which is above. We will centralize gene editing databases so that innovation is guaranteed in the world of the Cataplan. The plan still shreds it. As for the drop layers above, even if you judge take the Cataplan, all of our words prove the market is resilient despite centralization. Second is small forums. They have no reason why these are key. The winner does not cite evidence, so the 2 AR is not allowed to. Our evidence is that profits for private corporations is a key internal link, independently linked shapes direction of uniqueness in the school is assertion. You know the plan makes it impossible to solve the impact. Now the link is huge. All 4 of them are dropped. First, price control. The plan uses monopoly power to drive down profits achieved by the pharma industry. Second is clinical trials. So being conducted by the private sector now, but the plan's single pair disincentivizes people from pursuing them since they already have guaranteed coverage. That's first. The link is the most important part of the debate. The entire advantage relies on the fact that gene editing will result in the plan. So even if you think that gene editing might result in a guy in the magnitude of link overwhelms it because they drop hardened evidence. The large argument is no internal link, which is wrong, which is done above, and it's also new. Go to the centralization advantage. They cannot go for space call and instead Aschenberger, but it was on the other advantage, and the one with slow growth, which they dropped defense to. The labor's firm growth resilience is increasing, AI is increasing, which is disat uniqueness and structurally non-unique. The case decreasing necessity for the plan. Remember, they have never explained to you how we get off the rock in the first place or how data centralization solves AI. Read their card and never says that we have the technology to get off the Earth and go to another planet, which is the reason why gene editing would be good to increase radiation resistance. Innovation in genes is also coming now. They got a PMR evidence, which is also disat uniqueness that is expected to reach 30 billion in value by 2033. It's driven by things like rapid tech innovation and advancements in things like precision medicine. They've also dropped the Scoville evidence. It takes out time frame and try or die. It says the human risks are anthropogenic. So even if you think that extinction is inevitable on Earth, going to space certainly would not solve it because it's solved by human risk, which means it is no better because we'll destroy safe environments there, which turns space called. Oh, do you want cards?
I think I'm okay.
Okay, that means nothing.
It's gonna be cards after these 2 minutes. It's gonna be centralization, then the advantage counterplan. Then let's go to the, what was it called again? MedTech TA or something? Medical devices. Yeah, just. Alright. All good? Oh, wait, actually. Good? Okay. Space call is the only impact that matters in the debate, and it's the only one we're going for because their explicit dropping of numerous impact scenarios proves that there are existential black swans in the status quo, including asteroids, which their impact cards detail, which are reasons that planetary harms outweigh any impact that they can generate. And the plan is key to solve by getting off the rock, which is the only way to resolve these impacts. This gives us maximum offense, and independently, we can access human augmentation independent of counterplan solvency, and because that's predicated on the ability to generate gene editing, and I'll explain why that's external to the counterplan below. This means that we access there internally, and all the reasons augmentation is good are afforents now. And on the line by line. They said a lot of things like that the space call is impossible and that we don't have any method of achieving it, but we have specific scenarios about how the centralization is uniquely key. And centralization isn't the only thing that's key because I'll get to that below actually. But they were talking about asteroids and planetary harm on medical devices DA, which is something that the plan would solve. And the DA isn't faster because we control time frame and probability, and they dropped our impact calc scenario of probability because the litany of existential threats are coming in the status quo and don't go up with us in space because the planetary harms like asteroids, which they were talking about, are completely external to our ability to access whether like it goes up in space with us or not, which is completely external. And they didn't extend your meaning actually solve. Yeah, and they said that we can't access space, but we said that the explicit thing that's preventing us from doing so is gene editing, which is uniquely solved by the affirmative, and I'll get to that below on the advantage counterplan. Nathan said the centralization plan doesn't apply to case, and he was right. Simply fiating centralizing data doesn't account for our external warrants for why the plan is key, which is predicated on removing trade secrecy and a multi-payer system. That is a natural extrapolation of Nathan's claim, and it doesn't solve space call, and explicitly what I said in the 2AC, which goes completely dropped. Our cards detail how we are not, how we're good for gene editing, not only because of centralizing data, but for our ability to reduce the multi-payer system influence on trade secrecy and for-profit innovation. And please do read McKee. It's excellent on this. Medical devices data. MedTech is declining now. Lasky is very explicit and says that the complexity and access to capital from things like debt and R&D investments are decreasing now. The number of devices getting approved by the FDA are improving each year, and things that like AI are further increasing limitations. It's not just about the firms, it's also about the FDA, which means link evidence about profits, prices and profits are wholly irrelevant. FDA and administrative cost means that they're swapping with just a few complex approval cases, which means at best there's very little uniqueness for the link. The concessions on case independently thump the impact because it proves the healthcare costs in every sector are decreasing now. The cost application was clear in the 1AR and should
be sufficient for you to raise the threshold on evaluating uniqueness, or it means the plan is a drop in the bucket which takes out any link. Now, US lead is wrong. It's about the school, but it's declining. It's not in the context of specific medical tech firms. So increasing complexity and administrative shortfalls answer it, and link controls the direction of uniqueness relevant, and because all arguments about either thumb the link, and if it eventually solves case that's external, because it proves that there's literally no link, because the tumor has no extrapolation of how the loss of profits or the presence of price controls can tip medtech companies over the edge. Uniqueness is a sliding scale, so winning that it's tipping away from medical firms means the link can't be offense. So you know that the sole thing inhibiting space colonization is our ability to access gene editing. We have the sole solvency claim for that, external to their counterplan. Read their card and read our card. Very clearly, there's a separation. Nathan, anything else?
Wait, I guess extend the link turn on midterms.
Yeah, extend the link turn on midterms, like plan's really popular.
China doesn't take out the entire golden dome impact.
China doesn't take out the entire golden dome impact.
Any risk of unpopularity means you judge kick the counterplan.
Any risk of unpopularity means you judge kick the counterplan.
The GOP steals is irrelevant
GOP steals is irrelevant
because any risk of unpopularity means it's still at offense.
because any risk of unpopularity means it's still
Because
at
it overwhelms GOP.
offense because it overwhelms what?
It overwhelms the GOP stealing.
Because it overwhelms the GOP is stealing it, which means we have external offense, which is a net benefit of the counterplan. So straight turning that means we access that independent of counterplan solvency. You know, I don't need the rest of the time.
Wait, this isn't gonna go on